What if the future of a nation's survival wasn't determined by politics or diplomacy, but by its military strength? In the Sahel, one of the world's most volatile regions, where extremist groups thrive in the shadows, Burkina Faso is rewriting the rules of engagement.
Les libertés individuelles ne priment pas sur la liberté de la nation.
Individual freedoms do not take precedence over the freedom of the nation.
Une nation ne se construit pas dans l'indiscipline.
A nation is not built through indiscipline.
Une nation ne se construit pas dans le désordre.
A nation is not built in disorder.
Under the leadership of Ibrahim Traoré, the country has shifted its military approach, no longer relying on conventional tactics but instead embracing a new age of mobile warfare, precision strikes, and cutting-edge technology. This isn't just about defending the borders, it's about asserting sovereignty, making a bold statement against foreign interference, and positioning Burkina Faso as a key player in the regional power struggle. As insurgencies tear through the region, Burkina Faso is not standing idly by. Its military is evolving. Its forces are becoming faster, smarter, and more formidable. But this transformation is not without risks. Political tensions within the country, military factionalism, and external pressure from former colonial powers like France all threaten to destabilize Traoré's bold vision. Will these military advancements be enough to secure the country's future, or will they merely serve as a temporary solution in the face of much deeper challenges? Let's find out. In the heat of the Sahel, where desert sands shift with insurgency and borders seem to blur between the living and the damned, Burkina Faso has made a deliberate and calculated decision. It is not enough to be a passive observer in a world increasingly defined by violence and instability. It has chosen to modernize its military, equipping it not just with more firepower, but with the tools to fight in a new kind of war. Ibrahim Traoré's government has embraced the difficult truth. Survival in the Sahel no longer depends solely on having a large standing army, but on the ability to adapt, move quickly, and strike precisely in environments that demand agility, speed, and technological supremacy. The first and most striking change is the shift away from traditional warfare strategies. For years, Burkina Faso's military has relied on conventional forces, stationary units, and a defensive posture in an environment where this approach had long ceased to be effective. In the face of increasingly well-organized insurgents, especially in the northern and eastern regions, a new vision emerged. A vision that places speed, flexibility, and technological edge at the forefront. The adoption of mobile warfare tactics marks the beginning of a transformation that is deeply necessary, considering the unique challenges that come with fighting an enemy skilled in asymmetric warfare, using guerrilla tactics and hiding in terrain that traditional military operations struggle to overcome. Burkina Faso's military response began with the introduction of fast attack vehicles, tactical units that combine speed with heavy firepower. These vehicles are not just transportation. They are weapons platforms capable of mounting machine guns, grenade launchers, and anti-tank missiles. The design philosophy behind these vehicles is simple: move fast, hit hard, and escape quickly. These vehicles can engage insurgents on the move and provide an instant counter to hit-and-run attacks that have become the hallmark of extremist groups in the region. It's a strategy built not on brute strength, but on the element of surprise and speed, using the terrain to the military's advantage, making the Burkinabe forces hard to predict and harder to engage. The importance of these vehicles cannot be overstated. They bring an unmatched level of responsiveness to a battlefield where time and terrain often dictate outcomes. When insurgents strike from the deep bush, using remote hideouts to plan and execute ambushes, these vehicles offer a crucial advantage. They allow the military to respond quickly, bypassing traditional bottlenecks like supply lines and static command posts. Instead of waiting for reinforcements or sending large platoons through difficult terrain, these vehicles make it possible to mount a rapid, high-impact offensive with minimal delay. Their introduction into Burkina Faso's military playbook is not just a tactical shift, it's a symbol of the country's refusal to be left behind in the face of modern warfare. However, it's not just about fast vehicles. To truly modernize its military capabilities, Burkina Faso has turned to technology, recognizing that information is as crucial as firepower in today's conflicts. Drones, once a tool of the elite, have become part of the arsenal for counterinsurgency operations in Burkina Faso. These drones serve a dual purpose, offering invaluable real-time intelligence and enabling precise strikes on insurgent hideouts. The ability to observe and gather intelligence without exposing troops to danger represents a significant tactical advantage. Moreover, with the help of drones, the military can identify targets and assess the effectiveness of its strikes with unparalleled precision. The use of drones is not just about modernizing the tools of war, it's about modernizing the approach to warfare itself, replacing traditional methods of intelligence gathering with a new level of efficiency and effectiveness. Beyond drones, the use of advanced artillery systems further complements this modernized approach. Artillery has long been the backbone of ground operations, and in the Sahel, where the landscape can create natural fortifications for the enemy, controlling the airspace becomes critical. Artillery systems deployed by Burkina Faso are designed not just to fire on targets, but to control the skies above insurgent strongholds, denying them the ability to operate from well-defended positions. With improved artillery capabilities, the Burkinabe military can establish a strong deterrent against insurgents, reducing their ability to plan attacks from hidden positions and forcing them into more predictable zones where they can be neutralized quickly. But these advancements are not just about having the most advanced technology. They reflect a strategic understanding of the nature of the insurgency. The key to Burkina Faso's new military approach is its recognition that traditional battles won't win the war. This is a fight against an enemy that doesn't play by conventional rules. Insurgents rely on mobility, stealth, and guerrilla tactics to avoid head-on confrontations, making it essential for Burkina Faso's military to outmaneuver them on their turf. The goal isn't just to defeat these groups in battle, but to frustrate them, to make the battlefield too unpredictable and too fluid for them to establish a foothold. In this context, the use of modern technology and mobile tactics isn't just a tactical shift, it's an existential one. It's about forcing insurgents to fight on Burkina Faso's terms, rather than theirs. The faster vehicles, the drones, and the artillery systems allow the military to set the pace of engagements, leaving insurgents scrambling to keep up. As the military becomes more adept at these new strategies, the likelihood of insurgents finding safe havens decreases, and their ability to sustain operations in the region is undermined. For Traoré, the goal is simple: give his forces the tools to keep the insurgents on the defensive, to create a dynamic battlefield where the enemy can't predict the next move. This shift towards mobile, technologically advanced military is not merely a reflection of the country's growing defense needs. It is a clear signal to the world. Burkina Faso is no longer content to remain a passive player waiting for external help. With this new military strategy, it is asserting itself as a regional power capable of defending its borders, and perhaps leading the charge in the fight against insurgency in the wider Sahel region. But in the pursuit of military excellence, no strategy is complete without a focus on the human element. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. While Burkina Faso's military has undergone a technological transformation, it's not just about the tools and weapons. It's also about the people who wield them. Ibrahim Traoré's vision goes beyond just acquiring modern weaponry and advanced vehicles. It is also about ensuring that the forces behind those tools are highly skilled, versatile, and able to operate in some of the harshest environments imaginable. In a region where insurgents hide in dense forests, remote villages, and the unforgiving desert, the importance of specialized training cannot be overstated. One of the most unique aspects of Burkina Faso's military overhaul is the emphasis on creating specialized units tailored to the specific needs of the country's terrain and combat challenges. While traditional armies often focus on standard training regimens, Burkina Faso has introduced a series of specialized programs aimed at addressing the particular demands of its ongoing battle against insurgents. Perhaps the most striking example of this focus is the creation and training of forestry agents, almost 2,000 of them in the past few years, whose task is not just to fight, but to master the very environment in which the enemy thrives. These forestry agents are a testament to Burkina Faso's understanding of the terrain. The country's dense forests, particularly in the east and north, have long been used by extremist groups as safe havens. these regions offer the perfect cover for insurgents, allowing them to regroup, plan attacks, and launch ambushes from behind the veil of thick foliage and challenging landscapes. Recognizing the importance of these forests in the ongoing conflict, Traoré's government has made it a priority to remove these safe havens, not by brute force alone, but by deploying a specialized force capable of infiltrating and neutralizing the enemy in their territory. What makes the training of these forestry agents so revolutionary is the dual focus on combat readiness and intelligence gathering. Traditional military forces may specialize in direct combat, but these agents are trained to operate in the shadows, blending seamlessly with their environment. They are not only equipped to fight but also to track insurgents, intercept communications, and gather vital intelligence that can disrupt insurgent operations. This hybrid approach of using specialized terrain knowledge alongside advanced combat techniques allows these agents to operate effectively in regions where larger military units would struggle to penetrate. The training itself is both physically demanding and mentally challenging. Forestry agents must learn how to move undetected through dense forests, navigate rough terrain, and identify signs of enemy movement that would go unnoticed by untrained eyes. They are taught to think like the insurgents they are hunting, to anticipate their tactics, and to use the terrain to their advantage. This level of specialized training reflects a modern approach to counterinsurgency, one that understands the critical role of intelligence, stealth, and adaptability in a world where the battlefield is often not defined by clear lines, but by the strategic use of geography. This specialized training is not confined to the forests alone. The country's military training programs are also focused on enhancing the adaptability of troops across diverse environments. From the searing heat of the desert to the dense jungles, the Burkinabe military is equipped with the skills necessary to operate in any setting. Soldiers are not just trained for one type of terrain. They are prepared for all contingencies and able to adapt on the fly to changing environments. This creates a force that is not only effective in combat, but resilient in the face of adversity. The success of these specialized training programs has already been evident in the field. As insurgent groups attempt to flee into the forests and hide in remote areas, these agents can locate and neutralize these hideouts with remarkable efficiency. They can cut off insurgent supply lines, disrupt their communication networks, and target their leaders with precision. More importantly, they have proven instrumental in preventing insurgents from regrouping, which is a crucial part of any successful counterinsurgency strategy. By denying them safe havens and limiting their ability to operate from within the forests, Burkina Faso's military is striking at the heart of the insurgency's survival strategy. This strategy has proven effective in not just containing the threat, but in forcing insurgents to change their tactics. Where they once moved freely through the forests, now they are being hunted in their hiding places. The results of these operations are beginning to show: fewer successful attacks on civilian and military targets, and a growing sense of insecurity among the insurgents who once thought they had safe zones to operate in. But this success, though significant, is not without its challenges. The forests are vast, and the enemy is elusive. For every insurgent cell that is neutralized, another may pop up in a new location, and the Burkinabe military's efforts must remain relentless. While specialized training may be one of the most visible aspects of Burkina Faso's military overhaul, it is part of a larger strategy that emphasizes versatility and continuous evolution. In the modern age of warfare, the enemy is constantly adapting, and so must the military forces that oppose them. This is why the training programs in Burkina Faso don't just stop at traditional military skills. They evolve with the changing nature of the conflict. Soldiers and agents are continuously retrained and updated on new intelligence and tactics, ensuring that they remain one step ahead of the insurgents at all times. This commitment to specialized training is a reflection of Ibrahim Traoré's broader vision for Burkina Faso's future, a country that relies not just on technology or firepower, but on the skill and adaptability of its people. By investing in the training of a highly specialized force, capable of taking on the toughest terrain and the most elusive enemies, Burkina Faso is building a military that is not just strong, but smart. This shift represents a deeper understanding of the nature of modern warfare, one that relies on precision, intelligence, and adaptability rather than brute force alone. But what challenges come in the path of this ambitious initiative? The path of military modernization is never straightforward, especially when the political and sovereign landscape is as fragile as it is in Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traoré's vision for a stronger, more independent Burkina Faso is undoubtedly ambitious, but it comes with significant challenges that cannot be ignored. These challenges are not merely military, they are deeply political and geopolitical, affecting everything from internal stability to international relations. Despite his efforts to equip the country with modern military capabilities, Traoré's leadership has been constantly tested by a complex web of internal strife and external pressures. Internally, the political landscape in Burkina Faso is a delicate balance, and this balance is often disrupted by factionalism within the military and political elite. Traoré's ascent to power was born from a coup, a clear indication that the political situation in Burkina Faso is far from stable. The country's political factions, which span a broad spectrum from military officers to political leaders, have often found themselves at odds. These internal divisions have not just threatened Traoré's authority, but have also posed a significant risk to the coherence of the military reforms he is trying to implement. While Burkina Faso has seen some positive changes under Traoré's leadership, these internal struggles have been a constant backdrop to his rise and the modernization of its military forces. Coup attempts and unrest within the military highlight just how fragile the political stability of the country remains. Military factions, with their competing interests, have occasionally challenged Traoré's government, reflecting a broader dissatisfaction with the pace of reforms and the way the government has handled the insurgency. While these coup attempts have been thwarted, they underscore the underlying tensions that continue to plague Burkina Faso's leadership. This internal instability is not merely a byproduct of one man's leadership. It is a reflection of a country struggling to define its political identity in the wake of years of insecurity and turmoil. For Traoré, consolidating power while modernizing the military requires more than just force. It requires deft political maneuvering to keep factions within the military and the government in line. The military itself, while being the primary instrument for political control in Burkina Faso, is not a monolithic entity. Different factions within the armed forces have varying views on how the country should be governed, and these differences often spill into the open, challenging Traoré's vision. The success of Burkina Faso's military modernization is intrinsically linked to the ability of the government to navigate these factional divides. The question of who controls the military, and by extension the country's destiny, remains a contentious one. As Traoré continues to push for reforms, he faces the daunting task of uniting these factions under one banner without alienating any one group. Externally, Burkina Faso's struggle for sovereignty has been met with increasing challenges, particularly from former colonial powers and international allies. Perhaps the most notable of these challenges comes from Burkina Faso's strained relationship with France, the former colonial power that has long had a significant military presence in the Sahel region. Since Traoré's rise to power, the country has taken a firm stance against French influence, asserting its independence with a clear message that Burkina Faso will no longer bow to the pressures of former colonial rulers. The most high-profile instance of this defiance came with the suspension of Air France flights to Burkina Faso. This move, which many saw as an attempt by France to exert pressure on Traoré's government, was met with a forceful response. Traoré's government made it clear that Burkina Faso would not tolerate external interference in its domestic affairs. For Traoré and his supporters, this was not just a political maneuver, but a necessary assertion of sovereignty, one that resonated deeply with the Burkinabe population, many of whom viewed French influence as a lingering reminder of colonial subjugation. However, this rejection of France and other Western powers has not come without its costs. Diplomatic relations between Burkina Faso and France have soured, and the government's defiant stance has made it difficult for the country to secure the kind of international military support it once relied on. France has long been a key partner in regional counterinsurgency efforts, and the loss of this support has left Burkina Faso vulnerable, especially as the country faces the escalating threat of insurgencies. While the military modernization under Traoré has bolstered the country's defense capabilities, the absence of external support, particularly from France, has forced Burkina Faso to rely more heavily on its resources. This geopolitical struggle is not just about France. Burkina Faso's relationship with the West at large has been strained, as Traoré's government has repeatedly voiced opposition to what it sees as the West's imperialistic tendencies in the region. Western nations have long been involved in the Sahel's counterinsurgency efforts, often offering military aid and support in exchange for political loyalty. However, Burkina Faso's rejection of this support, coupled with its growing ties to countries like Russia and China, has further complicated its position in the global political landscape. By seeking alternatives to Western influence, Burkina Faso has positioned itself amid a shifting geopolitical order. China, in particular, has emerged as a key ally, offering economic partnerships and military support as part of its broader strategy to increase its influence in Africa. This pivot towards China has given Traoré the flexibility to push back against Western pressures while securing new avenues for military and economic cooperation. However, this realignment also comes with risks. The growing presence of Chinese influence in Burkina Faso could alienate traditional Western allies, leading to further diplomatic isolation. For Traoré, the challenge is clear: modernize the military, assert sovereignty, and navigate a complex geopolitical environment. The rejection of Western influence and the increasingly visible shift towards non-Western allies have put Burkina Faso at the center of a growing geopolitical struggle. The question now is whether this defiance will secure Burkina Faso's independence, or whether the country will find itself isolated and vulnerable in an increasingly polarized world. As Burkina Faso strives to carve out a new identity in the face of these internal and external pressures, one thing is certain: Traoré's government is not backing down. The country's political future will be shaped not just by the strength of its military, but by its ability to navigate these delicate challenges, both within its borders and on the world stage. Do you think Traoré can handle all challenges? Can anything stop him? Let us know in the comments section. Will Western pressure mean anything if Burkina Faso's defense system becomes strong? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.